Hello, my name is Tim Sanford, and I want to welcome you to the Miami Valley Preparedness Network, where we're teaching the skills of self-reliance living in today's culture. If you'd like to be a part of our meetings, you can go to MiamiValleyPreparednessNetwork.com or join our Facebook page, and you can see all the events going on there. Just remember, preparedness is not just an event. It's a lifestyle. You're here to be a group, okay? We're listed under emergency preparedness, not preppers, not anything like that. And what it is, from anything from, let's say, from a rainstorm, a flood, anything such as that, this is what we're here for. And if the crap hits the fan, that's what we want to be prepared for. Now, guys, don't get me wrong. You're going to hear some great stuff tonight with long-range shooting, handgun training, things like that. We all need to know. This is what we're here for. But if you're looking for another type of group, maybe you need to go somewhere else. But this is a great time, guys. We have a lot to offer. And that's what we're looking for 2015. We're looking to do events. We're looking to do outreaches where we go out, do a, somebody come up with an idea, who's a good friend of mine, Nick, a Prepper Palooza, okay? We may call it something different, but where we actually get together for the weekend. And you put into action, we start teaching, put into action what we've learned. Okay, go out and camp for 3 days or 2 days over the weekend. These are some of the things that we're after. Okay, so we want to do this as a cohesive unit. And then going out to do excursions like hiking. I know with Hocking Hills is an incredible way to go. We can do groups like that. Okay, and then there's some simple stuff. All right, I don't know about you, but I don't have a lot of time, and honestly, I don't have a lot of close friends. I'll just be very honest with you. Being a prepper, things like that, your time is very limited. But I want us to become friends, and I want us to do things like, who would like to go bowling? I mean, I go bowling all the time. We can do something as a group, something like that. I'm trying to get us cohesive so we know one another. So these things are what we're looking at. I need your ideas. So if you would, email me on Facebook, whatever, send me these ideas so that way we can go together. And topics that you want to discuss in class. I know one thing that is really a hot topic with me is sanitation. That is one of the least things people think about, is sanitation. You want to talk about society going down the tubes, you wait till trash starts piling up and waste starts piling up, you'll find out real fast what's going to happen. We really need to discuss these topics, so please send them to me. I need all of them so that we can go through with our board and look at them and itemize them and say, these are the areas that we want to go to this year. So please, don't forget, we need your input on this, okay? Also, too, fundraising. We need ideas for how to fundraise because like you said, like this place, there's $175 just to rent. All right, I need ideas. We need things that, we've got one, the table we talked about last month. We're going to get together with do that, where you guys bring stuff in that you may have extra that you want to just donate, and we put it on a table. And then people have tickets that we'll sell, and you go up to the table and pick one ticket, one thing. It's a great idea. I've got some knives and things like that that I want to, you know, I can put on the table or different things. We may put buckets or whatever, but these are some things that we can do to help raise money for the cause here. And what we do is through all your printing, things like this takes care of. None of us are paid. I'm just telling you right now. We have guys here. I have my team here that goes to the gun shows every month. They volunteer. Dan came all the way from Columbus last week to come and help us there too. These are the kind of people that we want. We want people who are involved, that care about it. You get to talk to people. So if you're interested in something like that, please get a hold of me. Also too, you're seeing right here, this is my first official MVP shirt, okay? We, somebody's clapping. Thanks to Matt, who owns Embroid Me, right? Correct. Embroid Me out of Centerville. He's actually going to be doing these. Guys, there's nowhere, this shirt is incredible. It's a tactical shirt. It reminds me of 5'11", but we'll just go that route. But these are awesome shirts. They're snag resistant. Maybe you can give me some more on the product line. Yeah,
these are, and we do 5'11" as well, but
right.
These are just a lot more cost effective.
Yep.
It's a full 100% poly, so it's moisture wicking. A lot of poly shirts tend to snag and tug and whatnot. This is a snag-proof design. Yeah. You can run a knife down it and it's not going to catch. This is a tactical version, so it's got mic clips for those of us that are doing the ham operation and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Clip your mic there as you're going down the road, pen clips, etc. So available in a few different colors. Not sure which way we're going to go on that, or if we're going to stick to black. Okay. But it's fantastic.
And so he's only charging us. We're selling them for $30. That's everything. The patch, everything. So if you're wanting something like that, now we are coming with a more cost-effective t-shirts that we're going to be doing too. So if you guys are looking into that, it's actually going to have our motto on the back. Preparedness is not just for an event, it's a lifestyle. So these are going to be really cool. They're going to be less expensive, but if you wanted a nicer one, these are great. But these are some of the things that are coming out. We're coming out with hats, things like that for the group. If they want to get into that, that would be awesome. We're looking at other different ideas. So if you guys have other ideas for us, let us know. Just send me an email, get in contact. How many were here for the last one for the solar and wind energy? Was that, I mean, that was pretty incredible. A lot of that went over my head. I had to go back and watch it over again. You know, it was great, a great time. We want to do other classes such as this. We want to do hands-on. We're actually going to do, I've got an RN that's going to be coming in to show how to do different things in the medical field. I'm looking for a doctor too, to bring in to where they can show us different ways to show how to use medications, things like that. Anything, let's say triage, as far as that's concerned. We have some guys that where's Bill at from Calamityville that he's trying to get a hold of now that can actually. How many's heard of Calamityville? They do actually on-site training, tell you how to do triage, things like this. And we're hoping to bring somebody in to talk about that, maybe even doing a private class for us. So guys, these are some great things coming up. I have to give kudos to the gentleman that's coming up. We brought him through, and I must say too, I want to thank John from Shooter's Paradise. Thank you, John, for allowing us to have Josh here today and introducing us to your company. Thank you so much. We love you, bud. We wish you the best. Josh has, what should I say, 3 different types of training. You've got handgun, carbine, and long range. I went to the handgun, the beginning handgun class, and the beginning carbine. I thought I was a real good shot. He proved me really wrong. And he did it gently, I should say. But guys, it was a 3-hour class or 4? 4-hour class that we took, and each one was 4 hours, and we were done in 8, and it was awesome. I cannot tell you how awesome it was. Well, he's gonna be offering classes later on to where you can actually go to these too. He'll be talking, I'm sure, more about it in the program. But guys, I can't tell you enough. We think, okay, also too, they offer CCW too through Shooter's Paradise. You think, how many here has your CCW? Can I see hands? Okay. All right. I know a lot of people that tell me that once they did their CCW, they are ready. I'm telling you right now, that's kindergarten. CCW is the bare minimum of training. You need more advanced training. And I'm not talking about being Rambo or anything like that. What I'm saying is you need advanced handgun training. And why? Because if you're in a situation, how many remembers the Walmart in Beaver Creek? I remember what happened there, okay? This kid was carrying around a weapon that was not real, but it looked real. Okay, were there any CCW holders in there? They didn't say. They didn't say if they did. You know, what would you do in this kind of reaction? Well, I'm telling you, these courses offer a lot. So we're going to bring Josh up here. Let's all give him a round of applause. And have you stop it.
If you guys got any questions, do me a favor. I want you to stop me at any time, okay? I'm going to go over a couple things. Before we get started, I'll give you a little bit about my background. Like he said, my name is Josh. Based on what I do for a living, I respond to all sorts of names, some inappropriate, some appropriate. So just yell out, you'll probably get my attention. I spent 8 years in the military, in the United States Army. I was in an airborne unit. We got in the unit that I was in, we got to do some pretty cool stuff. I got out of there. I went into the law enforcement field. Once I got in there, they had a tactical unit, or generically referred to as a SWAT team. I had about 10 months out of the academy. They asked me if I was willing to try out. I didn't have enough time on according to their policies. They granted me a waiver based on my background. I've been on a full-time tactical team ever since. Right now, last year, between arrest warrants, search warrants, barricades, hostage barricades, and amongst other things, between the 3-man team, or the 30-man team that's broke down in 3 squads, we had 1,780 actual real-world call-outs last year. This year, just my squad alone is over 450. So so when I come and I talk things about firearms, it's more of a mindset. It's not necessarily the mechanics. There are mechanics involved, but especially for you CCW permit holders, it's more of a lifestyle. And as we go through this today, we'll get in and you'll have maybe a broader understanding as to why I say that, okay? Anybody in here served in the military at all? A few of you? Where?
Marine Corps.
Marine Corps? I apologize, but go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. I love my Marine brethren.
10.5 Army, 10 Navy.
Okay, all right. I'll count to 10.5. Who else?
Marine Corps.
Ah, jeez, I'm outnumbered. Who else? Oh, have mercy. Jeez. All right. I'll keep my jokes to myself since I'm highly outnumbered, okay? I'm smart enough to know that I'll lose. So. All right. No, I love my Marines, all right? I will say, and it pains me to say this, as a branch of service, you guys are second to none. You know, it's a shame all branches of the service can't have that esprit de corps, okay? All right, with that, we're going to start off with handgun, okay? First, we're going to talk about equipment selection, things to look for when you decide to purchase a handgun, whether it's for sport, recreation, you decide to shoot competitively, you're going to use it in the home defensive situation or as a concealed carry permit holder, okay? A couple things I look for. Up here I have a Glock 17. Who in here's heard the adage that 9mm is a woman's round? Dude, raise your hand. I know there's more than one dude in here that's heard that. All right? Don't be shy. Okay? Look, guys, caliber doesn't matter. First and foremost, let's get that. Let's just throw that out there. You know, how many? I carry a 45. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Right? So, I carry a 22. Tomato, tomato. What's more important, the caliber of the bullet you have or shot placement? Shot placement. If you have a 44 freaking hog, right, and I got my son's a little 22, you miss, I hit you, who wins? The guy with the 22. Shot placement is far more important. So when you're choosing a caliber, choose a caliber that you can control. Choose a caliber that you can afford to train with, okay? Most importantly. These are things to look for. Once you've narrowed that search down, then break it down. How do I plan to employ this weapon or firearm? Am I going to be a competitive shooter? If so, that's going to guide what type of weapon or firearm I'm searching for. If I plan to use it in a concealed carry, obviously size is an issue, right? So that's going to guide my decision making. For me personally, the number one thing I look for is reliability. Whether I'm shooting competitively or whether I'm looking for a defensive type of firearm. Okay, reliability for me is king. If it doesn't go bang, it's a paperweight, right? Now, generally speaking, revolvers are more reliable than a semi-automatic pistol. Less working parts, okay? Now, with today's technology and things, semi-automatics are getting the job done. Okay, there's a lot of really good manufacturers out there that are making very reliable firearms at a relatively low cost. Okay, now revolver versus semi-automatic. All right, one thing you have to think about is your capacity. How much can you carry? Right? Unlike Hollywood, does 1 to 4 to 5 or 6 rounds, will that have the potential in the event that you're a victim of a home invasion or something along that sort? Is 6 rounds, will it do the job? It may. I can tell you from experience it may not. Okay? These are things you have to consider. Again, how do you plan to employ this? Are you going to be a competitive shooter? Are you looking for recreation? Or is this something that I may have to use in a defensive type of situation? Okay? Once you've narrowed that search down, let's say we lean towards a semi-automatic. Okay? You want to check this for me?
Clear.
Clear? One more? Okay. Let's say you decide to choose a semi-automatic. Again, guys, this is personal preference. There's so much personal preference that comes into selecting a firearm. That's everything. What I like doesn't make it right. Okay? Opinions are like backsides. Everybody got one. Right? One of the things I like, all right, This is a 9mm. Like, how does a guy like that carry 9mm? I got girl hands. Pardon me, ladies. I got girl hands. The Burger King guy got nothing on me. Right? I'm the guy that walks around like this all day long. One of the things I like is a very high tang grip. Okay? The higher that I can get up to this center line of the bore, or the center line of your barrel, the more recoil management that I'm going to have. The more recoil management that I have, the faster that I can shoot and still have the ability to stay on target. Is that important in a defensive type of situation? It is. Is that important if I decide to shoot this competitively? It is. My time, what we call split times in the competitive world, from shot to shot, if I shoot a course of fire in a competition that is a 15-round course of fire, and I'm shaving 1/10 of a second off of each shot, and say this guy is that 1/10 of a second slower, at the end of that stage of fire, I'm 1.5 seconds faster. That is a ton of time to make up. Now, let's talk about in a defensive situation. Is 1.5 seconds a long time? Let's think about it right now. Ready, set, go. 1.5 seconds. Is that an eternity? When bullets are flying at you, it's a lifetime. Okay? Milliseconds count. So your ability to manage that firearm can very well mean the difference of life and death. And that's just the callous truth of it. Okay? So, when you look for a firearm, something that gets you up as high as possible to the center line of this bore will help you manage that recoil. Okay? The second thing is, anybody in here a 1911 shooter? I know you are. A handful of you. Now, if I put this Glock in a 1911 shooter, the first thing he's going to say, it's plastic, right? Okay. Okay. The second thing he's going to say is because of this grip angle, when he punches out instinctively and gets that good, what we call shooting platform, because of the grip angle, his sights are going to be off than what he's accustomed to because of the difference in the specs of the gun or the angles or the geometry of the gun. Okay? So these are things to consider. So before purchasing it, a lot of local ranges allow you to rent guns. Now, generally speaking, these guns are not maintained very well. You can look in the case and you'll see the carbon build up all around the muzzle. Now, you take that thing to the range and it performs, chances are it's a reliable gun. Right? So, but if you rent one, that's a great idea. Take it out and shoot it. Know what you're getting into before you drop $5, $6, $7 for a 1911 guy up to $3,500.
High point.
Stay away from high points. I am a huge advocate of high points. Is there any cops in here? Do you love high points? Can a brother get an amen? They'll always malfunction. Cops love them. They love them because it's going to go click. You'll be like, oh, dude, you messed up. Right? That's a great day for a cop. All right? I don't like the bad guy that carries a Glock because it'll shoot. All right, so moving. Where I see you guys broke my train of thought. All right, but these are a couple things to look for. Second thing, if you plan to shoot this in a defensive type of situation, is a light something you may or may not want to have? Absolutely, it is. All right? Who in here's got teenagers or early 20s? They come home 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, you're in your, mid-stupor, and you're like, what's that noise? Honey, somebody's in the house. Right? That's what my wife does. I'm like, so call 911. I'm off duty, But a light, having the ability to identify friend from foe is huge, guys. Huge. Because when it's dark, you're under stress, you're not going to see everything that you need to see. Okay? Because me being a tightwad, don't not spend $125 on a good weapon-mounted light and shoot somebody I don't mean to shoot. That you'll never be able to live with that on your conscience. Those are things you need to look at. Okay? The sights on a gun, to me, are huge. The sights that come on this platform here are junk. And I'm going to tell you why. In the event that I'm hurt, I'm wounded, I'm shot, does that mean it's a game of paintball, I'm out? I'm shot, I'm out, and walk off the playing field. No. I have a wife, I have children. Just because you're wounded doesn't mean. Do you have the ability to operate a semi-auto platform with one hand? whether it's your weak or support hand. How do you do that? These are things we'll get into within this next hour here, okay? But these are some of the considerations, all right? Holsters. Spend money on a holster. Go ahead.
You were talking about sights on a gun.
Uh-huh.
How important is it to have night sights on it?
Good question.
Flashlight.
Good question.
Repeat the question.
Oh, thanks. All right, the question was, how important are night sights on a gun? Again, it's going to boil back to personal preference. On the one I carry at work, I do have night sights. Okay? They're issued. On my personal, I don't. Personal preference for me is I like a solid black rear and typically a fiber optic front because my eyes are getting a little bit worse. I need that contrast. It allows me to pick them up a little faster. The times that I have personally been scared, legitimately scared, okay, I never saw my sights. I never did. And that's going to get into a kind of a controversial topic. Have you ever seen your sights when you've been scared?
No.
I never have either. Right, and that's going to bring up a controversial topic. Who in here has heard instinctive firing? Who in here has trained it? Instinctive firing, just point and shoot, right? Like all those high-speed, low-drag, Delta guys and all those cool guys, right? I am dead set against it. Guys, I'm not trying to point the finger at you. I'm not saying you're wrong. Tactics are like rear ends. There are wrong ways to do things. There's more than one right way to do things. And I'm going to explain why I feel, in training, why instinctive shooting or point shooting is wrong. One, you can develop bad habits. Okay? Every time when I go to the shooting range, I go with a plan. Let's say I decide to work draw stroke because I shoot competitively. I'm trying to get my times down. I'll work draw stroke, and I may combine reloads, so each magazine may only be loaded with one round, okay, because one ammo is expensive. So, I'll stand there, however I would stand. I'll draw one round, reload, pick up my second sight picture, and reluctantly work the gun back to the holster, okay? Every time when I train, I establish that perfect sight picture every single time, because when I am scared, my body has already developed what that perfect stable shooting platform is, and I know through training and through tons and tons and thousands of repetitions primarily where that firearm is oriented to. Now, if in training, in a perfect environment, I'm not scared, I'm not stressed, and things like this, I just drive that gun to the target, do we know where that weapon is oriented? Now, in a real-life critical incident, will you have to point shoot? Probably so. Point blank. Probably so. I had a situation March 13th of this year. Okay? Can't go into a lot of details. I shot 8 times. 8 times. How many sight pictures did I have? Not a one. I heard my first shot, and I heard my last 2. I heard nothing in between. Nothing. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know my gun was discharging. My first shot, I felt my gun clunk, clunk. That's how slow the slide felt to me because everything was going so fast in my mind. It was the biggest Twilight Zone slow motion I've ever experienced. And I shoot a lot. I never saw my sights. My last 2 shots, I barely heard. It sounded, that's all. In my mind, that's all the louder it was. And I was in a staircase with 2 walls right beside me. Okay? So, I'm not saying that's right. That may be a deficiency in my training. I don't know. I can tell you that's what I experienced. This is weird. I mean, I don't know if I should dig this or I should be like, hey, thanks for having me. Have a good one. All right. Back on topic. So, I can only attest to that situation. I am not a huge advocate of instinctive firing in training, and that's why. Don't develop that bad habits in a stress-free environment. Bad habits are going to come in place when you need it, believe me. Everything that you've done is going to... Who in here, in their military experience, has been somewhere you didn't want to be? Just about everybody in here, right? All right. Whether it was in the bathroom, next to your bunkmate, whatever that situation was, or in Iraq. All right? But, and I was going somewhere with that, and I totally forgot. As soon as I saw the Marine raise his hand, I was like, stinking Marines. All right. Anyway, back on topic. All right, let's move on. Maybe I'll remember what I was going to say. Can I have 3 volunteers? You're going to think I'm going to pick on you for a second, but I promise it'll make total sense. All right, come on up. Nobody? Where's my Marine at? Come on, Marine. Come on up. Okay, now we're going to talk about a couple things. This is how I got my wife, by the way, this next trick. This is a cool bar trick. All right? This gun won't function. Check that.
Yeah, empty.
Check it. Check it. Okay. I'm going to put my roll of nickels in here. Okay. What I want you to do, I want you to face this wall. Here's your gun. I want you to aim at something extremely small and get the most perfect sight picture you've ever had. Whenever you're ready. Okay. When you're on target and that sight picture can't get any more perfect, okay, I want you to close your eyes. Open your eyes. Is it still on target?
Nope.
Okay. Next guy. Now, see, this stinks for him because he knows exactly what I'm going to do. Now, I should have made them close their eyes. Marines always cheating the system. All right, go ahead and get on target. Now, I want everybody out here to pay attention to their stance, all their body mechanics. You're going to see why here in a second. Once you're on target, close your eyes. Open. Still on target?
Not exactly.
Not okay. Close. That's a no. Good Marine answer. All right. Okay. Go ahead and get on target. Mm-hmm. Okay, when you're on target, go ahead and close your eyes. Open your eyes. Okay. All right. Go ahead and sit down, guys. I appreciate it. All right, all right. Okay. Did we see differences in their stance? Okay. Did we see differences in how their arms were supporting the firearm? Did we see differences in their grip? We did. Did we see differences when I slapped the gun trying to mimic recoil? Did we see differences how much the gun hopped or didn't hop? Who had the best recoil management? And don't lie. Who had the best recoil management out of the 3 of them? The lady. The lady. Now, physically, is she going to be as strong as these 2 gentlemen? Maybe. Possibly. Right? But generally speaking, probably not. But she had the best recoil management. Why? Her grip was the best. Okay, so now, let's get into a couple. Who is the biggest, meanest dude here? Where's that Marine at? I know Marines are. Come on, dude. Now, bear with me through this next exercise. Here in 20 minutes, right now, for the next 30 seconds, you guys are going to, this image is going to pop in your head that I am the most arrogant individual you've yet to meet yet. If you bear with me, I promise, when we come out at the tail end, it will all make sense. I may be arrogant. That may be true. But just put that thought behind you, and this will make sense in a second. Now, Marines are known for their fighting spirit. And believe me, I love these guys for it. All right, we're going to fight. Ready? On the count of 3. Get ready. 1, 2. I'm serious, dude. Get ready. 1, 2. Freeze. Don't move. Good. I want you to look at his stance. Okay? Go ahead. Sit down. Meet somebody else. You're a young strapping lad. Come here. He's like, dude, I didn't know I was going to get called on. All right. Now this time, we're going to take it to the next level. We're actually, no punching, no biting, no pulling on my ears. Okay? Yeah. But I want you to try to put me on the ground. All right? First one to hit the ground loses. Ready? Dude, don't stab me with that either. He's got a big old hog on him. Like, yeah, I got something for you. All right, ready? 1, 2, freeze. Don't move. What do you notice here? He's getting aggressive, isn't he? You see how the first guy dropped his weight a little bit, but now I told this guy, okay, seriously, we're not going to bite, punch, kick, but I want you to try to put me on my back. Sit down. All right? Did you see that? Now, did you believe that, did you think we were actually going to try to do something up here, get physical? Yes. Okay. Did you? You thought I was just yanking your chain? Dude, you totally blew it for me, bro. Okay, so we'll stick with this guy. Okay, in his mind, he thought that we were going to go fisticuffs for a minute, right? His center of gravity dropped. His first firing stance, his feet were about right here. This time, the foot came back and bladed. Did you guys key on that? Now, if he thinks that we're going to fight, and he assumed that stance naturally, why, when we had the first 3 people come up and take a shooting stance, did we see all the differences? You guys see where I'm going with this? If you are going to do something instinctively when you feel that you may be attacked, then when we're training with a defensive platform, why is there all these differences? Are we setting ourselves up for success? Maybe. Maybe not. Right? So, what if we can take how we're going to react naturally and apply that to our firearms training? Let's see what happens. This is a theory of mine. Let's see if it's accurate. Have you used you yet? Nope. Come on up. All right. Same thing. I want you to find a target on the wall, get the most pristine sight picture that you could pop perfect. Then when you're on, I want your eyes to shut down. Open. Are you on, or did you have to reacquire?
I had to readjust.
Okay, he had to reacquire. Can we fix that based on body mechanics? And how he's going to perform instinctively anyway? Can I still use you?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. The first thing, let's forget the gun. All right, for years, prior to me going into service, I was a competitive fighter. For my first 5 years, I took a lot of beatings. Why? Well, what do we do as society? When our kids are infants and they bite, what do we do? When they hit, what do we do? When they pinch, what do we do? We slap their instincts, their self-defensive instincts out of our own children. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong because I've done the same thing to my boy. Because, dude, when he would sink down with those 2 front teeth, dude, it was a real deal. I'm not saying that's wrong, okay? So when you start doing something, you have to retrain your body to react differently than it's going to instinctively anyway. That's why my first 5 years of being a competitive fighter, I took a lot of I took some good beatings, right? Until it became instinctual. Now, when we all went to kindergarten, and we all had those big fat pencils that were about this long. Who had those? And you had to write your ABCs on the big lines with the little dotted one in the middle. Did you have to concentrate and focus on it? Yeah? Now when you write your name, you could probably close your eyes, write your name in maybe 2 to 3 seconds, and be perfectly straight. Would you agree? Why? Repetition. Good repetition. Okay? This is where we're going with this. So, everybody remembers his first stance and his first thing. So let's start without the gun. When we're retraining to act a certain way instinctively, all this is a tool. The fighting comes from him. That's just an extension of his body. But how many of us, when we go to the shooting range or when you went to CCW, you hold this, you're so focused that I got something in my hand, I can't do nothing right. Who did that? I know there's a lot of us in here. Because it goes bang. Now, that healthy fear is good. Don't misquote what I'm trying to say. Okay? A healthy fear of this is good, and it's responsible. All right? But we need to take this somewhere. Come up here with me. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start with his stance. Stand like you and I are about to wrestle. Okay? Slide this out of the way. Look. No, stay. Oh, go ahead. Just slide up here a little bit. All right. Are you right or lefty? Right. Okay. Now, right now, if you see his feet are in perfect alignment. The only problem is, under stress, if I'm pushing down the hallway to fight my way to my son's room, right, and I bump something, his lateral balance is not very good. Okay? So every time when you go to the shooting range, we want perfect practice. Because under stress, it's not going to be perfect. So we drill things perfect so we can adapt to imperfect outside forces. Okay? So, feet about shoulder width apart. Just take half step back, okay? With your other leg. There you go. This leg right here. Just take a half step backwards. There you go, perfect. Now, more stable. Okay, so that's something we can help allow us to stay in this good fighting or shooting platform. Okay? Now, let's say hypothetically you and I are going to fist fight. How would you stand?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay? He thinks he's going to fight, so when we shoot a gun, why do we not do the same thing? Is it a fight? It's still a fight, just with a tool. Okay, so now that his foot's back a little bit, his balance here is not the greatest. So how do we overcome that? Just a slight bend of the knees. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Just a nice comfortable. Now, his chest, I want his knees right over the balls of his feet and his chest right over his knees. So right here I should have one straight line. Just a little forward lean. Okay? Now, bring your hands up. Pretend you're holding the gun for me. Now right here, not much recoil management. So how do we fix that? Slight forward lean. Now, we're going to talk about grip. You can sit down, relax for me. So now we got stance. Let's go to grip now. The first thing is to recoil this management. Dude, I'm 40 minutes in. I got to hurry up. I get going. I thought it was like 20. We talked about this high tang grip to manage the recoil. So the gun doesn't come off a target. I want that gun to stay right here, on target, right? So my dominant hand, my strong hand, for your righties, it's your righty. For your lefties, it's your lefty. Get as high up into that tang as I possibly can. So I can fight that tendency. Okay? All right. Now, the next thing. Can I use you real quick? All right, come on up. All right, go ahead. His strong, let's do a test one. Go ahead and punch out. Oh, see, this guy's already got it down. Here, he knows right where I'm going with this. Get on target. Once you're on target, close your eyes. Okay. Open. Actually, his stance and everything looks good. Did you see? Let's do it one more time. I want you guys to watch right here in his shoulders. The energy transfer is coming right here. Why? Arms are locked. Now, I'm going to try something with you real quick. Your gun probably was close to snapping back to that perfect sight picture, but maybe just a skosh off. It's just your arms. That's it. Okay? What I want you to do, I want you to come back to your chest. The grip I'm going to show you guys here in a second. When I drive my gun out to my target, you see how my hands are acting as a cam? They're closing like a set of vice grips. So from his chest, your grip's perfect. That's fine. Okay? Slowly drive it to target, and when you feel these front fingertips start to slip and break down, I want you to stop. See? They're slipping right there. Back up just a little bit. Okay? Once his fingers start slipping, your grip can get no stronger. But a lot of times we have the tendency to keep driving that gun out to the target. So as soon as you feel this slip, give me just a little bit of a bend. Okay, are you on target?
Pretty close.
Still there? Do you see how the gun's not moving now? Still there? Good, thank you. So now, based on his body mechanics, that gun is snapping back into that initial point of aim. So now, under critical stress, when you're really getting into that trigger, right, that gun is driving right back to where I want it. Now, that is kind of contradictory when I said I don't believe in training in instinctive firing. I don't. In training, track your sights. If I fire 2 shots, I want 3 sight pictures. If I fire 4 shots, I want 5 sight pictures. You always finish with a perfect sight picture. So I can make that conscious decision to either shoot again or make that conscious decision not to shoot again. I don't have to be like, oh, who in here when we go to shooting range, you're shooting paper. Shoot, look, shoot, look, shoot, look, shoot, look. Who does that? Don't lie. Raise them. Just about every dude and lady in here. I do, okay? Because I want to see, wow, dude, that group is so tight. All right? It don't matter. Because that bullet's already gone and you can't pull it back. Okay?
Tell them what you call it.
Turkey peeking. All right? So, let me use you again. All right, so the first thing, get us high up into this hang. His grip, I'm telling you, it was perfect. The only thing is just maybe a slight bend of those arms. Let's try you a little bit. Okay? Now, on his support hand, do you see how his arms are here? This is going to have a tendency under recoil, that gun's going to come here. Okay? If you can square your shoulders up for me a little bit, bring the gun into your chest. Now, who in here, especially my law enforcement guys, has heard 60 on my strong hand, 40 on my weak hand? Who's heard that? 60% strong, 40% weak? Okay. I have. I'm going to throw this out there. I've wrecked more cruisers than Carter had liver pills. My department record will attest to that. I've had days off, tickets. So, and I can tell you, when I've wrecked my cruiser, I wasn't driving with two fingers. It was one of those. So when you're scared, what do you think your grip is on your gun? 60-40, 70-30? So when we train, who's choking the life out of the gun when you practice? Raise your hand if you are. Okay? Food for thought. Okay, now, I want you to come here, get that good grip on the gun. Okay, go ahead and punch out. All right, we'll come around this. Now, do you see his thumbs here? I want as much surface area in contact with this gun as possible. Let me see the gun real quick. When this gun discharges and there's nothing touching the surface, that gun is going to go to the path of least resistance. There's a small explosive charge going off in this gun. Okay? When that happens, that energy has to bleed off somewhere. So if there's nothing touching that on that side, that's where that energy is going to go. I have to manage that. So the first thing is that strong hand gets high, right there. My support hand, I want to fill this gap. That way, there's no gap between my hands. Okay? Now, do you see? My trigger finger is right where this slide meets the lower receiver, right here. I'm going to camp my hand at 45. Now my thumb is where that slide meets that lower receiver. As I wrap my fingers, my middle finger, my bird finger, right, falls right into this valley. My ring finger falls right into that valley. This comes right up underneath, locking my hands together. Now, my thumb and trigger finger are parallel to each other. Equal pressure to the left and right side of the gun, mitigating any left and right errors that I may occur based on my grip. Okay? All right, so let's try that. Okay, bring this thumb up. Yep, that's perfect. Now grip it. Now 100%, 100%. Now pull the gun into your chest. Slowly present it to the target and get that perfect sight picture. Okay? Now you see how this arm's locked and this has got a slight bend? Mm-hmm. Equal them out just a little bit. Are you on target?
Mm-hmm. Much better than last time.
Still there?
Mm-hmm.
Still there?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the gun's still hopping, so there's things that we can add to try to manage that. But is there an improvement on that recoil management? That's what we talk about when we talk about body mechanics. Okay? Thanks, bud. All right, now, from the draw stroke, how do you get in that perfect hand position from a draw stroke? Is it hard? It can be. Anything can become easy with practice. Okay? If I'm going to draw, I run my hands in and out. Whether I'm running a carbine, an AR type platform, or pistol, I'm always running my hands here. Or if I'm going through a house and there may be a possibility that I may get in a scuffle, my hands are here to protect not only my equipment, but my face. Okay? Same thing goes with the gun. Just because I plan to fight in a fist fight, what I do with my body doesn't change because I have a gun in my hand. Everything stays the same. That way, I got a gun, so I got to do it this way. I got a baton, I got to do it this way. I have a pillow, so I got to do it this way. But you guys don't have pillow fights at home? I'm just teasing.
Must be an Army thing.
Touche! He got me. That was a good one. That was a good one. Okay, see, I forgot where I was going again, dude. Okay, draw stroke. That's where I was going. So dude, that was a good one. Nice, that was good. I like that. So from a draw stroke, my hand's running in and out. My support hand, when I go to my gun, comes right here, right to in front of my gun. Okay? Again, this is me. I'm not saying this is the only way to accomplish a draw. It's not. There's 100 ways. This is how I do it. I'm not saying it's the only way. Okay? So, when I draw, this hand comes here. As I come out of the holster, my hands meet. As I present, I'm getting that good. You see that? See how that's managing that just from this hand alone? Okay? So as I come here, my hands drive, it goes there. If you look at my arms, they're equal. Equal pressure left and right. Make sense? Now, let's talk about reloads. How many types of reloads are there? As many as you want to be. All right? There's a slide lock reload when the slide is locked to the rear. Or this is an emergency reload. You got issues. You're out of bullets. All right? There is a tactical reload, which means in a defensive type of situation, I just shot rounds down range. I need to push my way to my child's room, but I want to top this off. I want to make it full before I decide to go on. And then for you competitive shooters, there's a reload with retention. The reload with retention and tactical reload are interchangeable. I prefer one or the other depending on what I'm doing. Okay? So, when we reload, how many times when you guys reload on a range, and it's okay, because I know there's rules at certain ranges, put your gun down, you grab your magazine, you put it here, you cycle it, and now you're back up, ready to go. Who does that? A lot of us. Yes. I'm not saying it's wrong. Based on how you've done this time and time and time and time again, is that how you perform when you're scared? Yes. Here's why I say it. Who says that I've done this training this way 100 times, okay? But when somebody busts into my house, I'm going to rise to the occasion. Who thinks that? Who says you're going to fall to your level of training and experience? You absolutely will, because that's all you've opened your mind to, okay? When I reload, even when I'm just putting my gun in a holster, I put it out, I get a sight picture, and I bring it right here every time. Every single time, I bring it right here. I can see the mag well, my head's up, okay, so I can use my peripheral vision to see if there's any threats. I bring it, I see the mag in, right? Now, there's a lot of debate. Do you cycle it, power stroke it, or do you hit the slide catch? Okay? For my law enforcement and military guys, who in here has heard after 145 beats per minute you lose fine motor skills? Who's heard that? Is that true? Oh, dude, yeah. I fell down a flight of stairs when I shot those 8 shots and still didn't even realize I was shooting. Okay? Yes, I do believe that. But if that is true, what they're saying, and they say that I can't hit this slide catch under stress or extreme stress, then when I do a magazine change and drop my magazine, I better give it with an elbow. Because is that button much bigger than this? Now, I have no education. It's apparent, you guys hearing me talk, would you agree? Right? It's just a theory. All right? But if they say that's fine motor skills, then what is this? So, mag change. Better do gross motor skills. I don't care how you do it. If you're accustomed to power stroking it, then that's how you do it. Okay? I've shot competitively for years, and this has become ingrained to slap that and go. Either way's wrong. It doesn't matter. Is the outcome the same? It is. But when you train it every time. All right? So reloads, pull up here. I cut myself. Don't get used to reloading down here and losing your situational awareness of where the things that are going to hurt you. Okay? If I'm reloading, I may be moving, right? But I'm doing everything in front of my face so I can see the gun and I can see out here. Now, who in here trains with a purpose malfunctions in a semi-auto platform? Good. Good, good. A lot of people don't. In the event, okay, you have to use this defensively and the gun goes down. How do you correct a malfunction in a semi-auto platform? A revolver, just keep pulling the trigger, right? This is different. Now, I can tell you the academy I went to, they say slap, rack, and bang. That works almost all of the time. Almost being the key word. I need something to work 100% of the time. Now, I didn't know this years ago because I was young, dumb, and naive. With this platform, there's about 4 malfunctions that can occur inside of this. One is operator error. That's a failure to seat the magazine, or a failure to feed. So slapping the magazine, cycling the gun, will get that weapon back into battery and get that thing gassed up and going. If you have a stovepipe, which means the bullet's hanging out there like this, if I slap it and rack it, depending on the angle of my gun, when I cycle this, gravity can induce this worse. That is a bad day. Now you got a double feed, and stuff just got real, okay? If that happens, all you got to do is take your hand, rip it out. The gun will return to battery and get back in the fight, okay? If you have a double feed, oh, you got huge problems, but it can happen, all right? A double feed. Because there's metal and metal friction, you're going to have to lock the slide to the rear. And you better be moving to cover something that's going to stop bullets. You're physically going to have to rip the magazine out. Now, what's the probability it's going to be low light or dark? So, I need to get in there, get that bullet out. You're under extreme stress, and it's not a whole lot of light to work with. So how do you do that? I would tell you cycle it 3 or 4 times. Grab a different magazine, gas it, and go. Why grab a different magazine? What causes a double feed? Magazine issues. Because these lips don't have the ability to stop that spring from running all those bullets up into the breech. You put that magazine back in there, there's a good chance the same thing will happen again as soon as you pull the trigger. Okay? These are things, guys, you have to know. Now, going to a concealed carry class, I am a huge supporter of that, so don't believe what the news says that, oh, law enforcement is against concealed carry. Well, maybe they are, but this guy ain't, right? Because with my wife and sons at Walmart, it's going to be you that's going to react. How long does it take for one of us to respond? On a good day. It depends. It depends. Is it dead middle of winter and it's freezing cold and we're all just sipping coffee, listening to talk radio? It probably pretty quick. If it's summer out and it's Friday night and you're on the west side of Dayton, it could be a while because we're busy. All right? So when something happens, it's going to be the responsible armed citizen that's probably going to have the ability to mitigate this situation. Now, with me being on a tactical team, what's my response time? Dude, those guys got it cleaned and mopped up, and I'm just putting my pants on. Right? Just food for thought. Think about your training. Take it seriously. When you go to the range, go with the plan. If you have 200 rounds, how many times you go to the range and we shoot 200 rounds? What are you building? What foundation are you building? Good habits or bad habits? I don't know. Go with the plan. Take 100 rounds, focus on draw stroke. You'll save yourself money and you'll get an hour. Take 100 rounds, work on reloads. All right? Go buy dummy rounds from Brownells or Midway USA. Load them up in a magazine. Have your wife or your buddy load your magazine so it induces malfunctions in the gun and get used to correcting it and getting that gun back into battery. This is what you do that's going to save your life. Okay? That's, if you're a competitive shooter, that's what's going to give you the good times, right? To win or to do whatever. All right? You know, I was fortunate enough to meet John, the guy that owns Shooter's Paradise. A buddy of mine was getting a bunch of cops together once a month, and all these guys were going shooting. He's like, hey, dude, come out. We do a course of fire force. I'm like, yeah, dude, no problem. John happened to be there. He's like, hey, would you teach? I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm poor. I got no money. My car, I can't even roll my window up because I'm too cheap to put a $400 motor, so I got a plastic bag over it. I'll teach for you anywhere you want. Hell yeah. Right? Can you edit the hell yeah out?
We can edit.
All right. But look, these are things. So I got to give John, if you decide to come to one of John's company's classes that I'm teaching, there's 3 levels for the pistol. All right? Everything starts, level 1 is to build, guys, just to build you a solid foundation upon which to build. Without a foundation, you can't build a very good home. Okay? Level 2 gets a little more advanced. Okay? Level 3, we're going to be running and gunning, inducing malfunctions, getting that weapon back up. We start working angles and things like that. Okay? At the end of, let's say you decide to do these programs. Okay? One, it's 150 rounds because, man, I can't even roll my window up because I'm too cheap to put a $400 motor. So how much money do you think I got for ammo? Okay? So it's 150 rounds, so I try to keep it relatively affordable. Okay? The classes, we had a special one, they were $75. They're affordable. All right, my dad works for a living. My whole family works for a living. I'm not out to, look, I just want to put this stuff out there because I may not have the ability to be in Walmart when my wife and son are in there. It may be one of you. And if you're one of the guys I teach, I want your skills spot on. It's that simple. It's that simple. Okay? At the end of the 3 sessions, you'll have every course of fire we ever did. You'll also have a course of fire that is 100 rounds, will take you exactly an hour because of how these shooting ranges, local shooting ranges operate. That, okay, let's say today I want to work my reloads. You open your binder, pull out this course of fire, and go to the range. It has everything you need to do to focus on this task. If you want to work malfunction drills, pull this course of fire out of the binder, go to the shooting range, and I can focus on these skills. Draw strokes, accuracy, all these different skills that encompass being not an expert. I don't believe there's any such thing as expert. There's no advanced pistol shooting tactics. There's not. There's no magic like way SWAT guys hold a gun or SEALs hold a gun. It's just fundamentals. That's all it is. The best football teams ain't advanced. They have a mastery of the fundamentals. That's all it is. That's all this is. Okay? So that's kind of the pistol in a nutshell. Now I can talk about long-range precision. I can probably do that in 10 minutes. You guys, you want to hear that? You want me to shut up and I can go get dinner? That was a shout out to you, brother. All right, long-range precision. I am a school-trained sniper. I have some experience behind a bolt gun. I don't believe in teaching sniping as a craft. I just don't believe in that. But you being preppers, you decide to take a 1,000-yard shot on an elk to either mount it on your wall or to eat. Dude, I can help you with that, right? So let's talk about some fundamentals in long-range shooting. Again, I can go on for the next 6 hours on equipment and equipment alone. I don't want to bore you with all that horse hockey. I don't want to bore you with all this horse hockey about ballistics. And this is my opinion, people that don't have that much experience truly operating behind a bolt gun will start throwing these cool numbers out at you. Oh, the ballistic coefficient of a 308 round is 0.475. So, what's that mean? Right? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What does a bullet do in flight? That's all you need to know. Who cares what the ballistic coefficient is? All right? The biggest things in precision shooting is body mechanics. How are you laying behind that gun to manage the recoil, right? So under recoil, that gun is not hopping off of the target. And why is that so important? There's a thing what we call lock time. What lock time is once I start indexing that trigger, from the time that firing pin strikes the primer, to that powder igniting, to throwing that projectile down the barrel until it leaves the crown or the end of the muzzle. That's lock time. Now, how fast does that happen? Pretty stinking quick, right? If I have any influence on that bolt gun or gas gun in that nanosecond, how does that translate at 200 yards or 400 yards or 600 yards or 800 yards, so on and so forth? It's significant. The farther out you go, this angle becomes this at 500. And so it just compounds. Does that make sense? With bolt guns, if you decide to come to the precision class for you guys who are avid hunters, one of the things I would tell you is you're going to get, this is what I really like. Prior to me getting behind the bolt gun, I worked in explosives. Primarily explosive breaching, taking doors off the hinges, things like that. And it was cool, but I felt very limited by what we could do with it. There's only so many things you can do with it because not only the safety of the guys planning the charges, but the safety of the people that are inside the room, right? So you can dump your heart and soul into it, but you're only going to take it so far. With this, you're going to get out of it as what you put into it, and I enjoy that aspect of it. It's mostly having an understanding of what that bullet is going to do in flight and how the atmospherics and what it does to the round in flight. For instance, temperature. What does temperature do to a bullet in flight? Well, we'll say we're discussing a .308 round, okay? Every 20 degrees that temperature increases that velocity of that bullet. So it's traveling faster from point A to point B. So gravity doesn't have as much time to pull that down. Does that make sense? So in the sniper community, we would call that, it's going to hit 1 minute of angle higher. That sounds cool, doesn't it? You know what that is? That's 1 inch at 100 yards, or 10 inches at 1,000. All right, so don't let big terms confuse you. All right, it's just 1 inch at 100, 10 at 1,000, 2 inches at 200. So the key is one, you need to have good ammunition. If you choose the cheap ammunition versus the match grade ammunition, you're only going to get so much accuracy. And it may not be you, but what you will find is yourself getting extremely frustrated. Okay? I taught an actual sniper class several years ago. We had a guy that came, and he didn't have match ammo. And we could not even get this guy what we would deem as a solid 0 because we just couldn't group him. And it's like, okay, is it him being new? Is it his fundamentals? So we get behind the gun, me and a couple of the other instructors. We couldn't group the gun. The best we were keeping was 1.5 inch, 2 inch group at 100, which sounds okay in a sniper community. Real world, it's kind of unacceptable, okay? So we put match grade ammunition, fed it through the same gun, and I mean, the guy was tack driving. So we're like, look, dude, if you really want to graduate, you better get some good ammo. Okay, so think about that. You're probably looking at about $1 a shot but let's say you're running a .308. If you shoot more than 20 rounds in a day, your shoulder's tired. You're going to start bucking the gun, and you're wasting your time anyway. Take your time, put everything you can into each shot, and have fun with it, and learn what each shot's doing and what caused that bullet to hit a 1/2 inch high and right versus was it you. The cool thing about this whole thing is if you choose to come to this course, okay, I'll teach you how to dissect why did that bullet hit here versus here. Was it you? Well, let's go through what I call a shooter's checklist. You get behind the gun, you do a couple breathing cycles, you get your natural point of aim, you open your eyes, your crosshair settled. Is it the gun or is it me? Well, I'm going to wiggle me versus the gun. The gun's never wrong. It's you. It's you influencing the gun. Okay? So we'll adjust you versus the gun. You know, and then we'll do the same thing. Then, okay, keep a log of every shot I've ever fired out of my gun. I have a log of every bullet I've ever fired. And the reason being is the last time I shot, let's say it was 71 degrees with 69% humidity, and the sun was at my 11 o'clock, and the wind conditions were this coming from this direction. So when I go to take that cold bore shot, okay, which is the most critical shot, which means the gun hasn't heated up because I haven't fired it, how do I know what to dial in the gun for that one precision shot? Because it may be that trophy deer, or that trophy elk, or whatever other things people hunt, right? And you may have one shot at him. And it may be the guy, I had a buddy go out west, and the shot he took was like 700 some yards. You better compute the right stuff into the gun before you touch that round off. The bullet's not going to magically, like the movie Shooter, the crosshair's there and the bullet goes there. Dude, that would be awesome if that was true. I mean, there would be no point for me being up here talking. But that's not the way it works. It's really not. Okay? So there's two phases to this. Phase one is to really get your accuracy honed, get you a good foundation, good mechanics. Phase two, we'll go out to Zanesville and we'll shoot out to whatever distance you want to. We'll have the ability to shoot out to 1,000 yards. The cool thing about that is when you can actually watch that bullet in flight, pick up its vapor trail, you guys have heard that before, and actually see what it's doing in flight, it's like a light comes on. It's like, oh, that makes total sense. I can come up here and I can rattle off all these numbers, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is once that bullet leaves, what's it going to do? And you don't have to overthink it. There's so many people that want to get out there and in the instruction side, and they throw out all these cool jargon and all this superfluous crap, okay? And it's for nothing. It is. They're trying to sound cool, in my opinion, and it just don't matter. So the biggest thing you need to know is temperature, humidity, and wind. Temperature, every 20 degrees of temperature increases the velocity of your bullet by 1 minute of angle. Or 1 inch at 100, 2 inches at 200, 3 inches at 300, and so on and so forth. Every 20% humidity increase has the exact opposite effect of temperature. It's going to slow your bullet's velocity so it's in flight longer, right? So it's going to strike 1 minute of angle lower, or 1 inch at 100, 2 inches at 200. So if you go to learn a long-range precision class and they keep saying, well, you're 3.4 minutes of angle and 3.5 mil radian. It's like, yeah, what's that mean, dude? You know, talk English, all right? Just don't overthink it. And then wind is everything. And I can sit and bore you with a bunch of math formulas, or I can give you my layman's way of doing it, because I hate calculators and stuff where batteries can die. If it's a 308, 168 grain bullet, the mathematical constant, the only thing you have to remember is the number 4. That's it. There's no magic. So the way it works, for every 4 mile an hour wind, you're going to hold at 100 yards 0.1 mil radian. If you have a mil scope at 200, 0.2, at 300, 0.3, at 400, 0.4, up to 700 yards, then it changes a little bit. Okay? If you have an 8 mile an hour wind, well, I can divide a mathematical constant of 4 into 8 and get a 2. So at 100, I'm going to hold now 0.2. At 200, I'm going to hold 0.4. And me, being an uneducated fool from West Milton, Ohio, I can do that in my head. And if I can do that, I can teach other people to do that. But the key to long-range shooting is first get out of the prone position. Anybody in here fire a bolt gun? When you fire the bolt gun, how many here prefer to shoot prone? We all do, because we're good at it, right? When you go on that hunt, what's the probability that you're going to have the ability to go prone? Depends. How far out west? Are you in the mountains? You're probably going to be sitting, kneeling, standing, right? Are you in foliage? Well, I can tell you from experience, I shot in a sniper competition. Hey, and I'm going to pat myself on the backside. I did win, but one of the stages of the fire, it glanced off just a tiny little branch. Don't know where it went. I'd tell you, I didn't hit nothing. And I was trying to dissect, dude, was that me? Because them crosshairs were there. It felt good when I broke the shot. And I'm kind of walking. I'm like, and I see this one little twig. Dah! And then, dah, you idiot. I didn't look downrange, right? So all this comes into play, okay? So how do you do the same thing sitting, kneeling, standing? Go to Walmart, buy a $30 camera tripod. Ooh, that's awesome, right? Because I'm cheap. Let that gun sit right on that camera tripod, and you can actually sleep on that gun. I can tell you, I've done it. Hey, dude, you awake? Oh, yeah, I'm good. All right? So, but look, this isn't rocket science. But these are little things that I've learned from people that forgot more than I know that, hey, I can give to you and be like, hey, this has helped me. Again, there are wrong ways. There's millions of right. You may come with something and be like, hey, did you ever think about this? I'm like, no, dude, that's freaking awesome. But I can tell you that's going to go in my ruck because I'm going to start using that. Things to think about, you know? A bolt gun, an old sock with a bag of rice in it, tighten a knot, it's like a micrometer. And most guys probably already knew that. You probably got a rice sock, don't you? Yeah, just squeeze it to adjust the elevation. Just little things. You want to shoot a moving target? Take a Frisbee. You ever try to shoot a moving target on a bipod? Put your bipod right in a Frisbee. If you find the perfect Frisbee, your bipod legs will lock into it. So when you pick it up, the Frisbee stays there. And you can just like it's on a turret. It's really cool. So just a lot of little stupid things that dumb, uneducated guys that like to shoot guns can think about, be like, oh, that's perfect. And if you come, I'll tell you what you can do with silly string. I got some cool stuff with silly string. That's kind of it in a nutshell. I mean, without a PowerPoint and all this other stuff to really break down precision shooting, I mean, it's cool. It's cool. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. You may have a need for it, you may not, but I can tell you on phase 2, when we go out to the long range course, you'll have a ball. You'll have a blast. So, other than that, does anybody have any questions for me? Go ahead. You know, I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, without spending an arm and a leg, I know one of the Remington 700 models, they're what the Army would call like an M7 or an M24 rather. I think those still have irons, but I'm going to be honest. I would say probably not many.
There's two that are fairly new out. Savage has the Hog Hunter, and Mossberg has the MVP. Both of which are short barrels. Both have irons on them.
What? Anybody heard all the debates with the length of barrel on these bolt guns and why it's important? It's crap. It's crap. All right. I'm not scientific, but I have a 20-inch on a 308, and I can still. My farthest shot with that gun's 1,028 yards. Wow. And it's a 20-inch barrel. I did lose velocity when I chronoed it. I lost about 100 feet per second. So it's running 2,553 feet per second. I don't know why I know that, other than I have absolutely no life, and this is what I live for. But I did lose some velocity, but it will still shoot far. So, any other questions? Go ahead.
You were starting to get into earlier on the pistol. Holsters.
Holsters, yes. I can tell you what I like. Again, there's wrong things, and there's 100 right ways. I personally prefer, depending on how you want to carry it. I like carrying mine on the outside of my waistband, it's more comfortable for me. My most recent holster, I bought one from Raven Concealment, which is out of Cleveland. They make like that plastic Kydex, and man, it's great. I love that thing. There was a guy, I think at Shark Tack, I think he's semi-local, makes them at the gun shows. I had one of his holsters. It wasn't bad. When I was training malfunctions one day, one-handed, like cycling the gun, I ended up breaking it. So, food for thought, if you are shot and you do got to run it off the holster, I wouldn't trust my life to that holster. There's another, and there are a bunch of cops out of Indianapolis. It's called, yes, man, they have a great product. And they're cops, so man, support them because they're not making any money. But that's what I prefer. How do you carry typically?
Well, I've got numerous different holsters. I got inside the waistband. I got one that runs on my belt, and I've got a tactical. So that's what I'm saying. There's so many.
Is this the Reaper? These are the Reaper.
Kinds of holsters out there. I know one of the biggest problems that I've had is getting her into one because females are totally different ballgame.
Yeah.
And I've started taking her to females and saying, "Here, you talk to them because I don't know anymore."
Yeah, find something.
I mean, they've got concealed carry.
I'm huge on comfort.
I'm the bra straps and you name it, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, I'm huge on comfort and having it readily available. I don't want to have to take 15 steps to get my gun out and get it into operation. And I have a tendency to carry it the same way all the time. And I'll give you why. And this just happened actually in training, and it was pardon my French, a total brain fart. Okay? One of the pieces of body armor I wear is bigger, it's bulkier, so I have to wear one of those drop holsters to clear the actual body armor itself. The holster that I wear day to day is right here, and to get the pistol out, there's two different mechanisms from one holster to the other. We were doing some training, and my AR platform went down, so I transitioned. Rather than trying to fix this, I just transitioned, get this next gun up, and get it going. And for some reason, I was thinking, I'm running this holster versus this holster, and for about a second and a half, I'm going, yeah, and I'm just yanking on it, and the gun's not coming, until I finally pulled my head from my 4 points of contact and realized, oh, it's this holster, and then it came right out. So I'm a huge advocate of wearing the same thing or the same mechanism always, so there's no deviation. So under that stress, you're not going to do what I just did in training. Thank goodness it was training versus real world. But that second and a half, it probably took me to get that gun out. That's a lot of time. And it was because I made a mistake. But that mistake could have hurt a friend of mine. Okay, but find something you're comfortable with, and even if you have to dress around the gun, wear it the same way all the time, just to get that repetition. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, like I said, I've got 3 different kinds of holsters. depending on what I'm doing.
Right.
And I kind of practice with each one of them.
Okay.
The way I look at that is depending on what I'm doing, like you said with a tactical situation,
Right.
I've got a tactical drop holster,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got it that way just because of the fact it's kind of hard to wear the rest of my vest and everything with that holster way up here.
Yeah, it is.
Or if I'm left-handed, so finding a tactical vest that
Right.
is left-handed is a pain.
Yeah.
So I went with a drop holster for that, but you know, if I'm doing day-to-day conceal, you know, it's
Yeah.
my everyday.
I mean,
be that. So.
personal preference with me is huge. You know, I can say, whoa, this is wrong. Well, it may be wrong for me, but you know what I mean? I'm big on comfort, and I'm big on very quick accessibility, and big on something that's going to hold up to the rigors if I need to run this in a really bad way because I'm being shot at, or that it's going to hold up to what I need it to hold up to. So.
That's my other issue. I'm his wife.
Uh-huh.
We have very healthy debates on bolsters and
Uh-huh.
guns, and I was raised to hunt,
Okay.
so I knew shotguns, and I knew a .22 pistol for my trap line.
Right.
I marry him. He teaches me pistols.
Uh-huh.
We start going to ranges. I'm like,
She's freaking out.
right? And I start purchasing handguns,
Uh-huh.
and I'm not quite as scared of them. Learning all kinds of stuff, but holsters have been a big topic.
I need your microphone. You're fine. Guys, we want to thank you for coming to MVP. I hope, did you all enjoy it? I told you, this guy is a card. You've got to take some of his classes. We're going to go over, they're going to implement some new ones. I will send them on Facebook and email everybody. That way we can get you logged in, get you signed up. But I will tell you this, if you do a class, you have to pay it in full. There is no exceptions, okay? We have to pay it in full. I think you said what, the handgun was?
I think 75.
75. Mm-hmm. That may be adjusted. We'll have to double check. But guys, this is classes you don't want to miss. And if we can do it as a group, that would be awesome. Well, thank you for coming tonight. Please don't forget our vendors. If your first time, I want to meet you. If I haven't talked to you yet, I want to know your name, where you're from, get to know you, okay? Guys, have a great night. Thank you for coming.
Available for birthday parties.
There we go. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, anytime, dude.
Man, you're awesome. Let me get this off my group.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, my name is Tim Sanford, and I want to welcome you to the Miami Valley Preparedness Network, where we're teaching the skills of self-reliance living in today's culture. If you'd like to be a part of our meetings, you can go to MiamiValleyPreparednessNetwork.com or join our Facebook page, and you can see all the events going on there. Just remember, preparedness is not just an event, it's a lifestyle.